Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS, who rules well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of the video is Babylon's Biggest Problem is Time. Right? We know Babylon is America. Right? In these videos I'm going to play, the dude is explaining, or he said the only problem he sees with the plan of America is time. Right? And that's for everything that they're doing. Right? Because he's really talking about the attack that might happen on Cuba, right? And what that attack on Cuba is doing is trying to save themselves, right? So I'm gonna get these two scriptures right here. I'm gonna play this video, like 5 minutes of it. Revelations 12:12, it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them." It says, "Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil," right, which means deceiver, is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Right. And, these devils do have a short time to try to establish their kingdom and keep in control of the power that they had. Right. Because I say had because they have lost it already. Right. Iran controls the Strait. They say Iran has a nuke. I believe Iran has a nuke. Right. Russia and China has outbeated them. And the only thing they can do now is really go to war. If they don't go to war, it's over. Right, for America. If America stops right now, they're last place. All right, I want to grab this. It says, this is Nahum 3:11. This is going to the fact of what America is doing right now. And they're doing this, all over. That's what they're talking about going. That's why they went to Venezuela, right? That's what they're talking about going to Cuba. That's why they want Greenland, right? That's why they were there trying to blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, right? Because they're losing badly, trying to keep that control and that power. And it ain't working, right? That's why you get Job 18, right? That goes into the light of the wicked shall be put out, snuffed out, right? And that's exactly what's happening, right? And they feeling this is Nahum 3:11. It says, "Thou also shalt be drunken, thou shalt be hid, thou shalt seek strength because of the enemy." That's what America is doing. That's what the wicked elites are doing right now. They're trying to seek strength because the enemy, which the head of that would be Russia. Russia's going to be guard until all these nations that you see popping up right now, Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, these different places that America's attacking, the guard unto them will be Russia. We see Russia even gave equipment to Venezuela at the time, and Venezuela didn't use it, and they said, "Look, I can bring a horse to the water, but I can't make the horse drink." They gave them equipment. Venezuela did nothing with it, and that's what they said. Now you got Cuba next. You see what's happening with Iran. You got China and Russia giving them all type of intelligence, to make sure Iran doesn't fall. And Iran won't fall because they're not going to allow it to happen. This what we are in is World War III, right? And every day, as you can see, it only gets worse. Right? Nothing is getting better for this place. Nahum 3:12, it says, "All thy strongholds shall be like fig trees with the first ripe figs. If they be shaken, they shall even fall into the mouth of the eater." So if you shake an apple tree or whatever type of tree you want to shake, usually the fruit will just fall down. That's how America is falling easily. All their strongholds, different bases. And a matter of fact, look at all their bases. That's strongholds in the Middle East right now. All of them are destroyed. They don't have a military presence in the Middle East anymore, besides the ships they got sitting out in the ocean. I think like 2,000 kilometers off the coast or something like that to avoid being struck, because the eater will eat them. Right? Nahum 3:13. "Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars." America hasn't put too much into defense, because of the pride of their heart. Russia has, capabilities far beyond, anyone on planet Earth. And they're even saying, so where did these Iran get these nuclear weapons from? They don't know who gave it to them, But so America is weakened, right, compared to their enemies, right? It says, "Draw thee waters for the siege, fortify thy strongholds, go into clay and tread the mortar, make strong the brickling." Again, this is America now trying to save themselves. The Midas Touch guy, He goes to the fact that Donald Trump is posting all these memes regarding the Golden Dome. You got the bunker he's building over at the White House, talking about this is the drone port, and things like that, because they're trying to. He said Donald Trump is afraid and scared because of the enemy. He's trying to save himself and protect himself. He feels surrounded and trapped. That's what they're doing. It says, name 315, there shall the fire devour thee, the sword shall cut thee off, it shall eat thee up like the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the cankerworm, make thyself many as the locust, right? Going into what? Drafts, your ICE agents and different military officials, they're just giving people $50,000 sign-on bonus just to become an ICE agent, which we know at the end of this, these different groups of people are going to be here trying to keep things under control when we shut down America, because that's how bad it's going to get. You have to shut down America. That's why you can start now a looming chaotic situation that's about to happen to us. Right? America's on borrowed time. What's already in place right now can't be reversed. Mind you, you got the farmers that couldn't get the fertilizer, and then the data centers that are taking the water, from the farmers, so the food done. Iran got the street on lock. The oil is fucked up. Which I look into a brother. And I want to Manap Kazak, out there in LA. Sorry, it's like if I said his name wrong, but he was telling me about, or in the video, he was saying that the gas we're getting now got some E15 in there or something, and it's fucking up the vehicles. And now all the junkyards are being destroyed, which I'm gonna look into, because you got the refining plants and oil refineries and things like that being destroyed. That's suspicious. So now you got junkyard getting destroyed, so you can't parts for your vehicles, because all the vehicles gonna start shutting down. So all hell is about to break loose to the point where they got to shut down America, and then the ICE agents, the different individuals came in through the Biden administration, gonna be in here trying to keep control of it. But as 16, where it says they should not regard king or prince or anything like that, is where these people every day do Edomites. I don't give a fuck about none of that, right? And they're all gonna pew each other. All right, so that's what's about to go down. Nahum 3 and 17, it says, thy crown are as the locusts, and thy captains as the great grasshoppers. We're camping the hedges the cold day, but when the sun rises, they flee away, and their places not know where they are. Yeah, you gotta America, shocking all, come in there and destroy some shit, pretty much got bases all over the world. They have to do nothing. They're very proud to just really not have to care about nothing. They got the big ass ships sailing in the oceans. People see the American flag, they just turn the other way, because they don't want those problems. But now, Most High's put the spirit on these different nations. Go into Joel 3 and 9. The weak are sent, they're strong, and they meeting you head on, right? In a lot of cases, now you got people clogging the toilets, on aircraft carriers and things like that, and having a whole ship turn around. You got, generals and captains breaking their arm, talking about we don't want to fight for Israel. You got individuals just stepping down. All right, you got individuals. I remember one chick. Somebody said something. Let's just say Pete Hegseth to death. The Secretary of Defense of War Crimes, said something, and a female and what is Alaska or something, Antarctica. She was like, I don't know what the hell he talking about, but this is what we gonna do. They probably fire her. So these people is stepping down, talking shit, not trying to go to war and things like that, because the sun is out now, right? It's hot. It says Nahum 3 and 18, thy shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria, thy nobles shall dwell in the dust, that people are scattered upon the mountains, and no man gathereth them. There is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap their hands over thee, for upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually? The bully, right? The whole earth. Finally getting what's coming to him, And no one's sad about it. So anyway, I'm gonna play like 5 minutes of this. This dude right here, he usually gives videos and about certain things, or whatever the case may be. And he goes into, like I said, the fact that basically at the end of this, he's going to say the only problem you see with America's plan is time, and that's the point. They don't have time to prepare and Brooklyn and try to catch up to Russia. It's too late. Somebody trying to beat China in what the AI race or something. But meanwhile, China already won. Like they already got it. They really just waiting on the MOTB. America is so far behind, you know, and that's why this plays. You just gotta a hard reset. You just turn the computer completely off, black screen, you know.
That captured Maduro. After Maduro's capture, he was taken to the US to face charges connected to a narco-terrorism conspiracy. So, if diplomatic negotiations fail, the US could use fighter jets based in Florida and Puerto Rico to take out Cuba's air defenses, which would then allow for wider air operations from the carriers nearby. Raul Castro and Diaz-Canel would likely be among the top priorities. Either way, with the legal indictments in place, it seems a pretext for a U.S. law enforcement operation targeting Cuba would, of course, in every sense, be framed so skeptical Axios and Wall Street. The timing and framing of both papers is manufactured, and it tells me the U.S. is deliberately leaking a political case, political for military as an imminent threat to security.
America, you would come to Mars, you would just kind of block shit from coming here. Right, you would block ships from coming here because there's a lot happening here with Texas and New Orleans regarding like oil, things like that. And you got the Mississippi River that goes all up into America. He said that, you know, if you ain't have that, pretty much you want to have the type of America you have today. You know, so that's what he goes into. So, you know, what I was to myself was maybe, oh well, maybe someone is trying to take over Cuba. You know, I'm making maybe Russia or China to, you know, kind of hurt America. You know, because obviously America is hurting Russia and China. You know, so maybe they seen that, and now that's why they went to Venezuela, because they went to Venezuela to hurt China. You know, so now Cuba is another problem. They're saying this is the hurt China too, maybe whatever case may be. Actually, want control of this, and then of course you got the what is it up there, the Greenland. You know, so they trying to defend themselves basically. That's why I gave you Nahum 3. All right, so
to build a political case, a political narrative for military action by posing Cuba as an imminent threat to US national security. Above all, the setup of everything, by which I mean the carriers, the legal indictment, the media leaks. It all shows that there is a real military and political case building for conflict with Cuba. That option, conflict with Cuba, is real. Not many people are realizing that. Hopefully, none of this happens. But if it does, having some understanding of the situation is better than going in blindly. The only problem that I can see is that many of the big warships are now approaching 10 months at sea, which is far beyond the usual 6 to 7 months. The Pentagon must avoid overextending crews and naval forces because there is already an ongoing operation in the Arabian Sea. So perhaps America's only restraint is timing. Doing back-to-back long deployments adds over time. When you keep a carrier...
Right. And so, you know, a lot what they're saying in the news, all, you know, Trump's guys, whoever, now is the time. Now, Iran is weaker than ever been before. And you got your people out there feeding them, you know, basically, I don't know, bullshit ass food, plastic food, whatever. They complain about the food on these different ships. Damn, they're rationing and starving. So you don't have time to be sitting in the middle of the ocean thinking about what you're gonna do next because basically, like I said earlier, if America stops now, they done. It's over. They're in last place basically, so they gotta do something about it. That's what he's saying.
Well over 10 months at sea, the refitting and repair time for those ships adds up once they come home. Look at this. At Norfolk alone, there are 4 carriers and 2 amphibious carriers undergoing maintenance. Meanwhile, here in San Diego, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 carriers docked.
And he goes into, you can check the video out. This is his own type of map app or whatever that he made, or him and his people made, which you can buy. He said for $6 a month. They probably got the annual thing on there, just paying the money or whatever the case may be. But then you can look at all this information. You can see he got like it was like Iran and Israel. It was showing the missiles that they had and the ranges and things like that.
And one more in Seattle, the USS Ronald Reagan. So the longer ships are at sea, the longer the maintenance takes, and that leaves you with fewer options in the future. Now, before we wrap up,
right. So he goes into telling you about his app and how he made it and all of that, which it looks interesting, but the doom of Babylon, pretty much America is through. Right? They don't really have time. They losing already, right? Iran, it seems Iran got a nuke. Like, where do you go from here? This is Revelation 17:1. It says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And that is America, right? America is Babylon. America controls and rules the world because the elites that live over there in Europe, the Rothschilds, the banking families, use America as their sword, right? As you can see, when these small toppers, 1948ers over in the land of Israel, cosplaying to be the Israelites, were going into Gaza committing genocide, everyone around the world was like, America, look at America, look. And America was like, well, that's my boss, and then now people realize that, right? Because those are the Amalekites, and they go back to the Rothschilds. Even in the state of Israel, the Balfour Declaration was, put forth to the Rothschilds, right? Who own and control the money, all right? That's why people to these devils, all right? It says, so verse 3, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having the 7 heads and 10 arms, right, which just representing different governments. Right? And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. I mean, it's just describing how great of a place America is, all right, but it's wicked as hell. All right, this place is wicked, but everyone thinks they want to come here and start a new life. And then you come from where you ever came from, you got your nice fish right there, you got whatever side dish, asparagus, whatever the case may be, it's all natural, it's all real. Come to America, they damn near feeding you plastic, the air is polluted, right? The water is trash, the environment, as in the people, they're trash, Then you go to school and you get the garbage that they want you to know, which ain't nothing, because in America, you're taught how to be a fucking slave, So it looked good from the outside looking in, then you really get here and it's just horrible. All right, and that's coming from obviously a slave here in America, right? The Israelites were slaves. We were brought here through slavery. Anyway, verse 7, Revelation 17:4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, Mother of Harlots and Abominations of the Earth. Close the book. All right. Revelation 17:6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushai. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And ultimately, who had us in slavery? Who did what they did to the so-called black people? All right. which we're the actual Israelites and we ain't black with different shades of brown, right? Because of our melanin, which all nations have that, except for the Edomites, which are the white race of people. All right. And ultimately, that's pretty much it. This is Babylon and the doom. I just wanted to grab that. We gotta go into it. Matter of fact, let me go a little bit. Revelation 17:7 says, "And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not." All right, so this was what? The Roman Empire. And it's not because the Roman Empire fell. And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Now, that's going to the fact that during the fall of the Roman Empire, what came after that was the Byzantine Empire when we, the Israelites, ruled. All right. And these devils were in subjection to the Israelites underfoot. But going to Revelations 20, they came out and was loose for a little season, which we're in that season now. Right. And they're at, and then it says go into perdition because they're at the end. Revelations 20, and I'll do different one, right? Says Revelation 20:1, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and the great chain in his hand, right? So over there in Europe, right, that's where the Roman Empire was, right? That's the bottomless pit. The resources is, it says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, right? Devil, deceiver, Satan, adversary, and bound him 1,000 years. They cast upon him. He no more. Trying to call America the name till 1,000 years should be. So that little season happened around the 1400s when you have the guy Cristobal Colon, right? Columbus, coming over here selling in the 1400s and seeing our people already over here, which the northern, right, of the Israelites got All right, Salakia. I don't know where it cut off at. I mean, I'm guessing it probably just cut off. Um, but this ain't nothing new. All right, if you miss anything, let me know. The angels got it all recorded. Esau knows incoming. This is Revelation 17 and 14. It says, "These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful." That's your hopeful elect, right? And it's saying that's because these, which is the NATO, the EU and all that, everyone's being brought over there to the what you call the Middle East, right? Where Israel, Iran, it's already happening. Russia and China helping Iran, America's helping Israel, UK, EU. They still kind of figure it out, but they're gonna be with Russia. All right. It says and they're gonna fight Yahweh Shai when Yahweh Shai pull up, because that's where he's pulling up at, to destroy all the ass. Then he's gonna pick all of us up at the same time, because right when the missiles are shot, that's when Yahweh Shai pulls up, around that time to deliver us, obviously, from destruction. That's what salvation means, to be saved from imminent danger. It says, "And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore ships are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." So at some point, like I said, the NATO and the EU, they're gonna, be upset at Babylon, America, and burn her with fire. All right. So they're gonna be right there with Russia. That's why you have Obadiah 1 and I believe 7 or 8, that goes into your trusted friends, return on you, roughly paraphrasing scriptures. All right. It says, "For Yahweh Bashmiah shall put it in their heart to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled." And they have that fulfilled, right? We're at the time of the end now, where we can see that they're now fighting infightings and things like that, not seeing eye to eye and all of that, having their own mindset, trying to get their own protection and whatnot. It says, "And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the king of the earth," right? And the woman again, that's America. America is ruling over the earth, but as you can see, it's at an end. They want to keep that power, but they cannot. All right, so Lord willing, like I said, if you need anything explained, and what you could do is probably search up Revelation 17, Revelations 20, all these, all of that on my page or any one of the other brothers' page, GMS Great Millstone, and you'll get the breakdown. Lord willing, you edify from the lesson Shalom to the hopeful elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.